Alright. More esoteric knowledge sorts. I'm not going to say any names here, but there are some people in the who are kind of well known, celebrities in the alternative thinking community. I don't know if they're like new age thinkers or just alternative ideology thinkers, or I don't know if you're going to call them pedestrian philosophers. I don't. Conspiracy theory ideologists. I have no clue what to call them. But, alright. Some of them are rather popular. I'm a little afraid of becoming popular myself. Because, I don't know, people can start thinking, some people, discerning people, discriminatively thinking people, might start to think that, well, there must be something a little fishy about that guy, me, because he's very popular. I think other people might start to think that, because I tend to think like that. Just I don't just jump to conclusions like that about anybody. I just operate on the notion that things that appeal to the masses, to the majority of people, tended to be things that are mediocre at best. And maybe not only mediocre, but also might be a little misdirected or misdirecting. Anyway, there's a tendency for that to happen. So, anyway, some such people in the alternative thought community gain a lot of popularity. I am now referring to some such person. And I heard this person propose an idea about conspiracy theorization. No, my stance on conspiracy theory, well, I'm not a theorist, really, especially when it comes to world affairs. I propose my hypotheses kind of in private and even sometimes in videos. I propose my hypotheses, but I don't present my hypotheses about things as like I'm trying to convince people that I'm telling them the facts. I may say, hey, it kind of looks like this or looks like that, and then when I say this is the way things are, to the best of my knowledge, then that's when I'm off into things that I feel are well grounded. Okay? Factual stuff, documented, and so forth. I'm not really a theorist. And I'm certainly not a conspiracy theorist. No. But I will propose that I think that there is definitely a distinction to be made between conspiracy theory and conspiracy fact. There are both. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I just try to think very discriminatively about it all. Now, on with the point. This one person said that with respect to conspiracy theories, says, there's a lot of paranoia and I kind of get around that. I think I get around that because maybe I'm immune to it. But the thing is, one of the sources of the paranoia, or one of the directions that it takes, or one of the ideas that it's rooted in, is that there's some entity or group of entities or group of people, there's something, some social institution, whatever, who's actually in charge, pulling all the strings on the planet. Like it all might boil down to Satanists or banking or a certain couple of families or, I don't know, the church or, I don't know, royalty. Or maybe these astral entities or demons or fallen angels. Well, in other words, there's a lot of finger pointing going on. And, I think that stuff can be pretty scary to some people, but it doesn't bother me. And as a matter of fact, it could just be the case that there's something even scarier going on than any of that. Something a lot more potentially frightening than any of that, and that is that nobody's in charge at all. Nobody's at the helm whatsoever. There's no controlling force. There's no major faction that's kind of like dictating to all the other minor factions, and then the minor factions, and so forth down the line. There's no hierarchical structure involved whatsoever. Bingo. I mean, like, non-bingo. Whatever is the opposite. What's the opposite of bingo? Bunghole. I don't know. Something like that. Bull hockey. Alright, look. I would just want to ask a couple of questions. Does this mean that it's all just then random events? That everything's just kind of like a random display going on? Nobody's actually putting any thought into anything? In a large scope? Like, there's nobody who has, like, although there are definitely people who have a lot more money and power in the world than anybody else, they're not really putting any thought into all the things they have power over. Like, nobody actually is influenced or feels some kind of, like, drive or desire to actually be influential. Or it's all just random, like things just pop up. A bunch of events just pop up and they are in a direction that's scary. Is that what that means? That nothing like power corrupts is really true? And that there's not really any, power hierarchy socially? No such thing? And if there is, everybody just ignores that and doesn't act on that? That there's no reason for such an idea to even exist? That it's not grounded in anything? That, once again, that the way things are going, in a backwards, upside down, and inside out manner, is just cause and effect. But the causes don't really ground in anything intentional on on the part of any social institution, entity, group of beings, or otherwise. Does it perhaps even mean that there's no real consciousness involved in anything? That there's no intelligence in anything? And how about this? Let's just drive it to absurdity, because this is the inevitable conclusion of such an argument. That everything is just dead. Like there is no such thing as consciousness. That there is no such thing as a law of analogy, a metaphysical law of analogy, such that if there is intelligence at one level, then there is intelligence at all levels of manifestation, but except for this one that has to do with this planet and its occurrences that seem to be driving things in a pretty nasty direction, that nature itself would just fuck with this planet really badly, and that's just the way it all just comes about, without even nature having any kind of like intelligence to it. In other words, bull hockey. Nobody's in charge of anything. Bull hockey. Don't buy it. And be careful of alternative thinkers who sound really well, good, very convincing, and throw you some alternative point of view about affairs in the name of being progressive thinkers. Be careful, especially when they're really popular. Just saying. Just saying, be well.